kind of a fad nowadays, at least as far as I can see, where you do have a lot of leftists in the United States who condemn theory and theory talk, supposedly for this reason. They'll hear this stuff and they'll hear, yeah, we need to go back to common sense. Stop telling people to read shit, but it's not that either. The point is obviously to be, like you said, to kind of...
because they think common sense means abolish the police, and that's common sense.
Exactly. And they think they can skip the point of theory is to clarify this, is to put something like this, not abolish the police, but like abolish value form, discover what is concrete about that today. It's not to impose that on reality. You know what I mean?
You want to know something?
Like, they reverse it.
The phrase abolish the value form is the most retarded fucking thing you can say.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. How can you fucking say abolish it? What the fuck? Abolish it? Do you actually think the value form is legislated somewhere? It's a statute. It's a civil code you abolish. You fucking idiot. You can't abolish it. The form itself can only be sublated. You can't abolish that. It doesn't make any sense.
It's the same thing for everything, with the family, with the state, and this stuff is common sense, but you'll have the same people say abolish the value form, abolish wage labor. But these things are not they're not objects of thought that you can arbitrate. You know what I mean? How do you do that? But that's like you said, that's where if you are acquainted with the history of Marxism, you'll see what this means in practice. In Russia, in China.
In America, they're trying to draw parallels to the abolitionist movement in the 19th century. But guess what, guys? The difference with that is that there was the element of formally instantiated human bondage involved, which means people were formally, legally recognized as property. So you can't
It was directly political.
You can't abolish that because it's directly formally there. When you're talking about capitalism, or when you're talking about the value form, or you're talking about the family and all these things, that's not there. There's no set of laws you can repeal or revise that are going to change these realities, because they're not a matter of law. Whereas slavery, and actually slavery wasn't entirely a matter of law either. Slavery as an objective reality somewhat has persisted, even to this day. Right? But it's still meaningful to say abolish slavery. But that did not eliminate the reality of slavery. No one would argue that in 2020, I don't think. But there was something meaningful about abolishing slavery. It wasn't meaningful because slavery meant people were in bondage in a legally recognized way.
Yeah.
It's...
But I think that's another... Just going back to what we said before, I think that's another way in which we're straddling a kind of, and it's a bad word to use, but a kind of centrism. Because on the one hand, it's not an overemphasis on the purity of thought and these kinds of abstractions, and taking this being in, but at the same time, it's not the, this kind of, common sense. It's not actually common sense view that you ought to just dispense with theory, and what is common sense is to abolish these things. You have to have a dialectic between both. And see that theory is clarification of practice, of objectivity, of whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?